Hey, welcome back to another one here on Chasing Green. Today I'm taking you on my second turkey kill of this previous turkey trip I went on. If you hadn't seen our previous videos, I wound up killing my first turkey ever with Aiden from Cherry Creek Outdoors. Epic hunt, everything that you want. And Aiden wound up killing a turkey as well the next day. That was an insane, unique hunt in and of itself. But after Aiden killed his turkey, it got a little tough after that. So the next day we hit the road. The first place we went to that morning really set the tone because we walked about a mile in and a mile out in about an hour. And that really set the tone for the rest of the day. After that, we went to a property that neither one of us had looked at or been to before. And there were turkeys everywhere out there.
Close, but it's definitely responded to that.
It's out there, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's out there.
He's gobbling, so that's a good sign. Every time. He's like in here. Huh? Somewhere in here.
If we're lucky.
It's 3 times.
Make a move on it.
Possibly 4 times. I think we should just go for it.
This time's making us work.
These 4 or 5 times.
Better shoot off.
Moving for the hopefully 4th and final time on these turkeys. Definitely could think they got hens. They'll be just gobbling their heads off at us and slowly heading the opposite direction like the hens are taking them away from us. So we're walking and we see these turkeys out here in this opening. They're not very far. They're about 100 yards, 150. And we're trying to decide what to do. All we got is this little bitty tree line right here. I mean, it's a tiny tree line. Just back down that way.
I think we just waited out right here. Put out these couple decoys out this week. But if they come down here, they're gonna see the decoys and then come through.
We struck out. After about the 3rd time we moved on them and got to calling on them and the gobblers were fired up, but they started moving another way. I told Aiden, I've heard a lot of old school turkey hunters talk about that. These turkeys have hens with them. They have to, because it was like playing pinball. Every time we had hit them, they'd bounce the other way. And the gobblers would, at one time, the gobblers even closed within 100 yards, but then they would just kind of fade off slowly but surely. So we rode around and just was running and gunning. We'd pull up to places and walk not very far out there and call and listen to crows and just see if we could get on one gobbling. And we seen turkeys, we got on a few turkeys, but we just couldn't close the deal. So we decided to come back to that property with the 5 gobblers. We thought maybe they're gonna separate from their hens and be vulnerable in the afternoon. Sure enough, there was one sitting exactly where we first heard one that morning. And he is hammering, buddy, just over and over and over. I'm calling to him, getting him fired up. I cut at him a couple of times, and then we just go silent. Pretty fired up, buddy.
Seems like he's staying in one spot though.
That shotgun's fired up, boy.
He's fired up about something.
He's definitely looking this way. He works his way all the way into about 60 yards. And he's on the very edge of this tree line. We're about 50, 60 yards inside the trees. He's just sitting out there strutting, drumming, spitting, gobbling every 5 seconds. I mean, I bet that turkey gobbled 100 times while we were sitting there. And I tried being quiet for about 30 minutes. Then I started turning my head and calling, looking at the ground and calling, scratching the leaves, just doing every trick I could to try to pull that turkey into the trees, but he was not having it. What do you think we need to do, Aiden?
I don't know, man. I don't have anything.
That turkey was not going to step foot inside them trees, at least without not seeing another turkey. In hindsight, when we went silent, if I'd known he was going to hang up, obviously we never know. Sometimes they just go barreling through stuff. Sometimes the littlest thing in the world to hang them up. Looking back, I should have went forward after I called to get ahead of my calling. The only thing that kept this turkey alive was about 10 yards. We had some deer come in and blow at us. Then the deer started messing with the turkey, trying to run him off, and he starts putting at the deer. After they run off, he goes right back to gobbling. Then I tried to put the sneak on him. So I snuck as close as I could to him and he seen me, which I knew that was probably gonna happen, but I just had to send a Hail Mary because it was getting roosting time and he was leaving. The next day was Sunday. We were taking the day off. We come in there Sunday evening. We didn't film that just to see what these turkeys were doing, but we went back there. We kind of seen where they roosted, and that was key. We roosted them in this tree line. So this is the last day of the trip. That morning we had to leave from where we were hunting to get back in checkout time by 9 o'clock. There were some other people coming in. So we didn't have long. And on this last day, buddy, it was cold. The wind was blowing about 25, 30 miles an hour out of the north. And I ain't talking about gusts. I'm talking about sustained wind. And it was about 35 degrees. I guarantee you the wind chill was every bit of 22, 25 degrees. So we get there that morning. We rush up there and put out Jake and 2 hens on the edge of this wheat field and set where we did the day before. And these turkeys are over the ridge. We couldn't see them. They were on another tree line. It was kind of like what I've said before. They were working between 2 bottoms, and we were sitting on the wheat field that separated them. But they were over there hammering. What was crazy is this was the coldest, worst conditions morning, but out of the whole trip, the turkeys were the most fired up on that day. The gobblers were just gobbling constantly. The hens had not been making much noise at all, except the first day that I was there. The hens were just dead silent. You'd never hear them. But this morning they were yelping and cutting up and kikiing and just doing turkey things. So we sat there, and the turkeys are just walking back and forth, working this bottom across from us, across the field, probably about 250 yards, maybe 300. And we're freezing. About 8 o'clock, I was to the point where I just about couldn't take it anymore. I love the cold. I mean, I've duck hunted in single digit temperatures numerous times, but this was the coldest I'd ever been. Just laying on that cold ground, eating that north wind in the face, I was freezing. Hands on my gun, because we knew those turkeys could cross that ridge at any minute. Aiden comes down there and he said he was cold too, so we decided, we were sitting up on this ditch bank, and back behind us there was about a 10-foot ditch. I'm talking like right behind us, like we could have leaned back and fell off in it. So we decided to ease back in there, and we got down in there and did jumping jacks and was just walking around and talking, trying to get warmed up. I mean, I was dead cold. So we talked for about 10 minutes. I just jokingly said to Aiden, we're gonna pop up over this thing. There's gonna be Tom strutting at about 100 yards. Well, we were down in that ditch, and I told Aiden we're gonna pop up here and they're gonna be out there strutting at about 100 yards. And lo and behold, that is exactly what happened. We look up out of this ditch. We got up here, and the turkeys just sit on this ridge looking at us for a long time. Our decoys are down there. They disappear over the ridge, and I tell Aiden, I'm like, maybe they're working around that ridge. And Aiden stands up with his binocs to see. And sure enough, like our luck's been all week, 2 gobs are standing right there.
Heads just keep popping over the hill.
And after 2 heads pop up, about 10 more pop up behind them. But the 2 mature gobs come in strutting right into the decoys. I wish we could have got it on camera, but the camera was behind us. There's just nothing we could do, but I got mine. The other one kind of stood around for a minute, but he was a little far. It's freaking cold, son. Like,
Cold.
Let's go look at this turkey. Oh, the last day we got it done.
We did, man.
Oh, but he's a dead turkey.
That's what counts. That's what counts, man.
Oh, he's heavy. He may just be really old. He acted like a super old turkey.
Yeah.
Those are the hardest turkeys in the world to kill, probably. I mean, they came in strutting. I mean, it was perfect. Gobbled twice, like within 70 yards right at us.
Yeah, I wish I would have been able to see it.
I mean, he was just strutting and gobbling just right outside of gun range here. It was epic. Not like this Jake in his territory. But if you could have seen, they had about 10 hens with them, which is why we've been struggling the past 3 days.
So Drake was sitting here, this corner. I was sitting here, and I thought we were about to go chase it because we're running out of time. We're needing to leave.
Yeah.
And I come up next to this tree here. I come up next to this tree. And I'm like this. And then I'm like this. And those heads pop over the hill.
They popped over like right out there.
And I just couldn't move. I was up against this tree when Jake shot. I just couldn't move back because I didn't want to spook them.
They were coming to get on the decoy. They were like coming for sure. And then they started easing back towards that other group.
So that's when he shot? Because I wasn't watching him because I didn't want to spook him.
But they were sitting about 70 yards right out there just strutting and gobbling their heads off of this Jake. And then the rest of the harem and a couple more gobblers came down that way, and they started easing back to him, so I pulled the trigger on him. But we got it done on the last day,
We
buddy.
sure did.
We've been chasing these freaking turkeys, these same turkeys, like for like 3 days. We've tried every tactic in the book.
I'm gonna be here.
Hayden, we got it done though, buddy. I cannot believe that. At the last minute too. I was looking at my phone, like my phone's out over there, laying on the ground. I was like, man, we're about to have to leave. And we had like 30 minutes left in the hunt. But we're about to try to pack out of here and warm up some. It's absolutely frigid.
All right, well, Jake and I have been hunting this weekend, turkey hunting, and I think there's a lot of evidence for God that we've both seen this weekend turkey hunting. Just the complexity of life and just the turkeys gobbling and just how the whole reproduction process goes on throughout the year for turkeys, ducks, deer, everything, and just the cool nature that we've got to see this year.
Yeah.
I'd say that's just a lot of evidence for God and just his divine hand and sovereign power in everything, and how we've put time in. You've put 7 days in. This is, I guess, kind of like my 4.5 day, 5th day, and how the first 2 days we had turkeys come, right in. It's like it could have happened the complete opposite way, and then we put 2 days in. We hunt hard. We hunted all day. Put in like a 15-hour day. Had multiple turkeys gobbling at us, and this morning it could have easily gone the other way. Too. Easily. But God's hand is in everything, and like Jake mentioned quite a few times to me this weekend, not a sparrow falls without the Lord's hand in it. So he had a hand in all the turkeys we did and did not kill this weekend, I believe. So that's kind of what I saw this weekend.
Yeah, and just, it's hard to look at turkeys gobbling and just their beauty and not see God's hand in it, see design. And that's kind of what very first drew me to believing it, that there was a creator, that there was God, was from hunting. And the Bible says that man can clearly see that there's a creator and designer when he gets out in nature. And that was definitely true for me. I looked around at what I'd grown up doing, duck hunting, turkey hunting, and I knew that random chance didn't create the beauty and the way things all flow together that I see. It was just impossible to be done by chance, in my opinion. It was by the hand of someone much greater than anything I know. And so that led me from being out in the woods to knowing that there was a God, and then thankfully I was led to know his son Jesus through the gospel, that I'm a sinner, I'm broken, you're a sinner, and that we're all broken, that God sent his only son to die on the cross for our sins. His innocent blood being shed took away our sins, and he died and was raised 3 days later, defeating death. So that got rid of mankind's two biggest problems, sin and death, and we all have that problem. Mm-hmm. And there is no answer to that problem that I've ever seen other than Christ. If you got a better story, feel free to fill me in, but I think Jesus is the only way. But that's the good news. That's the gospel, that Jesus died for everyone. He died for me. He died for you. He died for Aiden. And if you put your faith in him, he can save you. If you got any questions about that, if you want to know more about that, we're by no means experts or Bible scholars, but you can reach out to Aiden on his Instagram or YouTube, or reach out to me, and we'll try to help you in any way we can. We'll pray with you. We'll answer questions. We'll do whatever you feel like you need done spiritually. We'll try our best to help you, because we want everybody to come to know Christ like we do. It's a game changer. It'll change your life. That doesn't mean everything's going to be perfect and that all your pain's going to be taken away or whatever, or that life's going to be easy. In fact, Jesus said, if you follow me, you will face tribulation in this world. So it's by no means the easy route or a crutch.
Yeah, you can find me at Cherry Creek Outdoors on Instagram, same on YouTube. I would also add that, life without Christ and life with Christ is full of meaning and hope, and like he's a healer, he's a comforter, and without him I think life would be totally meaningless. So if you're looking for meaning in your life, I think you can find it in someone greater than yourself. I
lived a lot of years before Christ, and I know that kind of lifestyle. I lived a wild lifestyle, so I know that the results and fruit that brings, and I've lived several years with Christ, and so I know the fruit that brings, and the years with Christ have been a lot better, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. But man, I've enjoyed hunting with you, dude.
Yeah, man. Same.
I appreciate you taking me along this weekend and put me on turkeys and just spending time together. I mean, you're a brother, and it's
man.
awesome.
I've enjoyed it too. I'm looking forward to next time.
Me too. A lot of next times. But thanks for watching, and we sure love you and appreciate you. And Lord willing, we'll catch you next time right here on Chasing Green.